And welcome to today's segment of On Deck with DeRo and Arch. I am Eric DeRosset. Alongside of me, Darren Archer. We host a little sports show here, try to do it once a week during basically August to April or so, kind of coinciding with the school year, and talk all things sports nationally and for sure some in-state athletics. So, Darren, good to have you and good to see you. We are third week of October and just about have another year in the books. So time flies, it seems.
It does. And I love this time of year. I think you mentioned this last week, but this time of year where football and basketball start to collide a little bit and get
Yeah,
intermixed, and we're, transitioning into the winter sports. And I love this time of year.
absolutely. And even at the high school level, where we kind of spend part of our time, those things even intersect. So yeah, it's a cool time. Um, we're going to start with college football on the national scene. Uh, Rankings, I didn't check both polls, but the rankings that I saw had Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, with Miami falling down maybe 9 or so, something somewhere in there with their loss. So Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Texas A&M 3, Alabama up to 4, Georgia's 5, Oregon is 6, and Georgia Tech number 7. And I told you off air I hadn't had a whole lot of opportunity to research Georgia Tech much, but they must be legit.
Yeah, and I would say right now, out of those Power Five conferences, as far as the ACC is concerned, they're probably the team to beat. And the Power Five conferences are going to get at least one team in
Right.
that FBS 12. So I would say that's probably the reasoning behind their highest ranking. And hey, or their higher ranking, and they're very good. They're a good football club, and um, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out in the ACC moving forward. That's kind of been there's been some shockers, obviously with Clemson and
Right.
following the way that they have, and Florida State having some success this year. But Georgia Tech's kind of quietly going about their business and doing a good job.
And I told you I was going to try to dive into them a little more, and maybe we can discuss them on our next show a little deeper, especially if they win a game this week. So Georgia Tech, not a name you see in the top 7 or 8 in college football world very often. So it'll be cool to watch them. And like you say, ACC football seems, and we're not super familiar with ACC football just because we're kind of in SEC land, but it seems like that you can make a run there easier maybe than you could in some other conferences.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Especially compared to the Big Ten and the SEC.
right,
Those two conferences there alone are just from top to bottom. They're murderers row, and so there's going to be quite a few teams. I say quite a few in comparison to other conferences from
sure,
the SEC, the Big Ten. They're going to have multiple participants.
yeah, yeah. Speaking of rankings in college football, the poll I saw had Vanderbilt at 10 and Mizzou at 15. Obviously, that is the game day matchup this week from Tennessee. So uh, Mizzou had a win over Auburn last week. Kind of a struggle, and again, you neither one of us claim to be football experts, but just kind of knowing coaching and games and athletics a little bit, it seemed like Mizzou was kind of behind the 8 ball a lot of the game, and their running game. I mentioned this last week. Hardy has been really really good for them. The week before, Alabama sort of stymied him and the run game a little bit. And you and I talked. Hey, was that just a one time thing, or is the blueprint sort of out there on how to stop Mizzou and find a way to stop Hardy and you stop the offense? So I'm just going to throw all that your way. How big a concern maybe does the lack of running game pose for Mizzou as they go forward?
I think it's a concern just from the standpoint that they've kind of hung their hat on that as being their MO. uh, offensively thus far in the season. Now, Prebula, the quarterback, is very capable of having a big night, and I don't think we can get too concerned with the Auburn game because Auburn has played everybody close. They're 3-4, I believe, right now, and 4 of those losses have come to top 25 teams and have come down to the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game in just about every game that they've played so far. They just haven't been able to get over that hump. So, you know, going on the road, getting a win, and we talked about this last week, that Auburn game, at Auburn had a chance to be spell trouble for Mizzou after a letdown, you know, after the Alabama game and being sandwiched in between the Alabama and Vanderbilt games. So just lucky to get out of there with a win. They are this week, though, upcoming week will be very, very important. And from the aspect of being able to keep their FBS chances alive.
Yeah. And again, like I'm like you, I don't want to over dramatize, you know, some of these games, but you know, last year Mizzou lost a bad one to A&M. I mean, A&M just put it on them. Then same thing with Alabama last year, you know, and then this year they play Alabama well, but they still lose. Does it feel like they need a signature win on a national stage a little bit? Like, does this, if they beat Vanderbilt on College game day at Vanderbilt, does that kind of give them that stamp that they need, or do you think they have it without it?
Oh, no, I think they need the win there. I think that's kind of a signature win. With it being the kind of highlight ABC, ESPN game of the week, number one. And number two, Vanderbilt's kind of been the darling of college football this year. And you take that spotlight and move it upon the Missouri program, maybe they start getting some of that recognition that Vanderbilt has been receiving, and rightfully so. You know, I just think it will be very, very important for them to go and good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, get a W and head back home with a big conference win.
Yeah. And you and I, and hey, we get a lot of things wrong on this show in our predictions, but we were sort of high on Vanderbilt last year. I mean, we mentioned them on air, I would guess 3 or 4 times, and we've mentioned them a time or two this year. So you and I probably, I don't know that we saw this coming, but we really felt like that was not a night off in the SEC like people's perception probably is. So they've got great quarterback play. They're doing really good things. Those kids play hard. They seem to believe in the mission of the football program and that culture. So Vanderbilt, hey, and if they get a win this week, that's a signature win for them as well in terms of the spotlight. So I saw today where Vanderbilt is a 2.5-point favorite this weekend. The over-under is 52 points, and I'm not saying this for the gambling side of it. I found the 52 to be maybe a higher number than I anticipated. What do you think there? First of all, on the 2.5 on Vanderbilt, and then touch on the point total.
Yeah, the 2.5 seems about right with them playing at home, but at the same time, the over-under seems awfully high, just like what you said. And I think this is going to be a knockdown drag-out for the most part. You know, you would think that Alabama game could have hit those numbers or hit that number and didn't. And I don't see any difference at Vanderbilt. I think that's pretty high.
Yeah. For me, and hey, this is just off the cuff, I feel like if it's over 52.5, I would lean towards a Vanderbilt victory.
Yes.
I mean, that's my hunch. So I feel like it needs to be a little lower scoring for Missouri to have their best chance. And hey, maybe dead wrong. Been that a lot. So, but anyway, it'd be a great game. Excited for Vanderbilt and Mizzou, both those fan bases. I think it's a great matchup. So be fun to watch. Switching gears here to Missouri State football Bears. They actually play. We're recording this game on a Wednesday, or this show on a Wednesday. Missouri State plays tonight at New Mexico State in a Conference USA game. Like we stated on here before, the Conference USA gets some television attention from ESPN on Wednesday nights. They feature a Conference USA game. So Missouri State happens to be that this week. New Mexico State is 3-3, 1-2 in the conference. However, they are 3-0 at home this year. So Missouri State goes to New Mexico State to play them on their home field where they haven't lost this year. So thoughts there as the Bears travel.
I think it's a huge road trip for Missouri State from the aspect that they're now 3-3. If they're able to go on the road and get a big win against New Mexico State, that puts them at 4 wins. They're 2 wins shy. And we talked a little bit about this, and I don't think it's too early to start talking about bowl opportunities for Missouri State. Obviously, they're going to have to take care of business at home, but to be able to go on the road and get a big win against a good, solid program within the conference, that would be a huge feather in the cap of Missouri State. And hoping they can go out and get a big win tonight.
And I would echo what you said. Just to get that road win in the conference, I think would be a big deal for them. And then they would follow that up with a home game versus Florida International, who is 3-4. So I think most teams prefer to feel like they hold their own destiny. And I feel like probably the Bears think they have that opportunity here over the next 2 weeks to get a couple of wins and control their own fate as they progress through the Conference USA. So good luck to the Bears as they play this evening, and we'll look forward to hearing more about that game later down the road. Going to go a little more local, or a little smaller and local. Evangel football, I believe, is 5-2. Picked up a win this weekend over Ottawa. I think Evangel's just played one conference game, 1-0 in the conference. This week they'll play Avila, who's 1-6 coming in. Avila was 0-5, or I'm sorry, they were 0-6 before they won their homecoming this past weekend. So good luck to Evangel as they continue on. Darren, I can't remember. Evangel, are they in this national rankings or just getting votes?
They are. They're number 22 this week in the national rankings, and on the Division III level, Washington University out of St. Louis is receiving votes as well.
Gotcha. Well, good luck to both those teams as they continue on. Switching to MIAA, which is NCAA Division II, Northwest Missouri State continues to play well. 6-1 overall, 5-0 in the MIAA. They will play Nebraska Kearney this week. It appears, and I'm not putting the cart before the horse, but it appears that Pitt State is probably the other team to beat in the MIAA. They are 5-1 in the conference. They are off this week. You and I talked last week that Northwest would host Pitt State on November 15th, which sounds like it should be a long ways away, but that just right around the corner. So MIAA action between Northwest and Pitt State, not something new.
Oh, it seems to be a yearly dogfight, and University of Central Missouri's kind of crept into that territory of the past few years. But this year it seems like it could come down between those two teams, and that game will be huge because the regional rankings will start coming out, I believe, next week. So that will play a big part in where each team falls in the regional rankings and being able to make the national playoffs at the end of the season.
Absolutely. So definitely a game to watch down the road if both teams continue to take care of business. MIAA, you never know. It's easy for somebody to come in and beat you. So anyway, not trying to look too far ahead, but certainly I think that's a matchup that we would all point to as a pivotal one in that conference and even nationally, Division II. So with that, I think I'm going to take us to break here. We covered quite a bit of college football. When we come back, I'm going to hit a few topics, World Series, NFL, got a couple of things for you on Hold'em Fold'em segment. So looking forward to the second half of our show coming up. So with that, viewers, I'm going to take us to break, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Leaders know there's no guide to greatness. When everyone else says something can't be done, they know it only hasn't been done yet. True leaders weather the fiercest storms and look deep within themselves to rise above and help others find their way forward. At Great Southern Bank, we're proud to partner with visionaries that help raise the tide for all of us. And when you're ready to bring your vision to life, we'll be right behind you with award-winning support.
There's a reason Chevy is called the heartbeat of America. The heartbeat's strong, steady, unwavering. Like the people who keep this country moving, doing what they do best. Helping neighbors, pitching in, getting it done. For them, only America's most dependable truck will do. And every Chevy truck, like every Chevy driver, dependability comes standard.
Seems Bill's up the creek without a paddle.
That's not funny.
And while he really wants a new boat, at Central Bank, we're helping Bill plan for what's most important, like retiring early and fishing whenever he wants. Hey, Bill, try it again.
Fine.
Hope a new boat's part of this plan.
Dream bigger, Bill. We're thinking about a cabin, too.
Now that's a plan.
And welcome back to our second segment of On Deck with DeRo and Arch. Eric Drossett along with Darren Archer. If you didn't see our first segment, please take a chance to go back and watch that. Discussed a lot of things college football. So some good information there. So would encourage you to go back and watch that. Staying with college football just briefly, and we hammered this one last week, so I'll just sort of touch on it and move on. But the coaching changes are everywhere on the landscape in college football. Another big change this week at Florida with another huge buyout involved. Second week in a row where that's been a national topic. The buyout, University of Florida, this week was $20 million ish. With $9.7 million of that due within 30 days of the coach's termination. Now, I don't know what $9.7 million is like. I mean, you may know, but I don't, certainly.
No, sir.
But just to know that, hey, now it's 3 weeks. If he hadn't gotten it already, he's down to 3 weeks, basically, right? Like he's going to get a check. And hey, I know he's not going to get it all, but like $9.7 million is going to hit his account in 3 more weeks. That's just hard for us to fathom. You mentioned this, and this is where I'm going with this. You mentioned this off air. Florida is already paying or is on the hook for a previous buyout. I think it was Dan Mullen's contract. Right. We're going to call it 12 million ish. Okay. Along with the 20 million ish so they're on the hook for, we're going to say $32 million in buyouts for their previous 2 head coaches. Like, are universities, do the coaches just have that much leverage to where a buyout just goes with it? Or at some point do universities just say, you know what, we're not going to do the buyout clause, even if it costs us a big name coach? Like, Are universities to that point yet, or are they just willing to just keep the cycle going?
Well, it sure seems like all indications are pointing toward keeping the cycle going. And I think part of that is just the amount of money that is involved with college football. I mean, imagine University of Florida. I would consider historically a top 10 or 15 program, in the history of college football. It's up there.
Yeah.
And they're currently paying 2 ex-coaches
Yeah.
buyouts, and now are looking for a new coach in the process. It just amazes me. And I think that a lot of these coaches go in and they have such bargaining power with the amount of money that's involved and the amount of money that if they have success that they're able to bring in, they've got that bargaining power to put those type of clauses in their contracts and those buyout clauses. And well, we're seeing them at full force this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously we're not on the inside looking out, but Notre Dame coach has apparently was in the mix and has apparently said he didn't have an interest in the Florida job. Lane Kiffin's name's been thrown around a lot. You would think with those are the names that are being considered, you would think that the buyout is just going to be a part of it. I don't see any way around that. So they haven't called me yet. But my buyout, I think I would go half of what everybody else is wanting. So if they're wanting 25 million, I would go for 12.5. That's kind of where I stand.
Think you could live on that?
Yeah, I think I could do that. So hey, and I'd be a terrible college football coach, but they could buy me out after they found out how bad I was. They would buy me out, and I would take the 12.5 and call it good. I don't know what your threshold is, but 12.5 is kind of where I stop. So
I'll tell you what I feel like my payday may be is going into a title boxing match and just taking a fall about 30 seconds in on one of those pay-per-view type matches and call it a career.
I would tell you this, I would pay for that. I would pay you to watch. So I would contribute to that. How's that sound?
I'm taking one shot and I'm down, buddy.
Well,
I'm KO'd. I don't care whether I am or not. I'm done.
Yeah. Well, I think there'd be a lot of people willing to pay to watch you do that. So
Right.
I think everybody would win in terms of financial. So
Right.
anyway, let's move forward. Interesting note in college basketball. And I feel like this is going to be a big thing, a big story moving forward. I think it's going to pick up speed. Player by the name of London Johnson, who played in the G League, the NBA G League, which is the developmental league for the NBA, played parts of 3 seasons. And he recently signed to play college basketball at the University of Louisville. And he will be eligible in the 26-27 season. So not this season, but next season. So we have arrived at a day and time where guys can play in a minor league of the NBA, paid, and now go play college basketball. Just give me your first thoughts on this. Like, it's just bizarre to me.
I agree. It's the wild, wild west right now in college athletics. And I think you start to see it a lot in basketball because a lot of times you can put names with faces and faces are recognizable. They don't have that helmet on and just now you're not dealing with the sheer numbers. So a lot of these stories of basketball tend to rise to the top. And I read an article today about Tom Izzo coming out and just questioning the NCAA. What have we become?
Yeah.
The whole amateur status of athletes in the NCAA levels is totally thrown out the window. And who said that was the case? And he was just really questioning. Now, I can see a lot of your blue blood coaches, a lot of your coaches that have been around a while, really having issue with this. Yeah. At some point in time, you've got to say enough's enough. But you take a look at some of these younger coaches that are coming in, and they're finding angles within the rules.
Yeah.
And bringing in some very good talented players. So I think if the NCAA doesn't step in and make some type of ceiling limits, cause for rule infractions, so to speak, I think a lot of your older-ish coaches bowing out, and much like we saw with Krzyzewski and some of those other Roy Williams, some of those others, when the NIL was brought in place, they just said, "Hey, we're not dealing with this. I'm moving on." I think there may be a round two of this coming up, and at some point in time, like I said, the NCAA's got to step in and say, "Hold on, there's limitations to this. Here they are," and it's scary.
Well, and I did hear the Tom Izzo interview, and viewers, if you haven't heard his interview, it's worth listening to. Obviously, because of his track record and his wisdom, I think he has great insight to things. Beyond that, one of the things that sort of stands out to me is, okay, I think Johnson is 21 years old now. They said he's going to have 2 years of eligibility left starting in 26, 27. So he's likely 22 next year when the season starts. Hey, he'll be 20. He could be 24 when it's all said and done, with 3 years of minor league experience under his belt and 2 years of college. Izzo's point was, hey, what are we doing to our freshman signees? And that is a whole different category. But it seems that freshmen, unless you're just, a 5-star recruit, I mean, it appears that freshmen at the Division I level just may not exist to the degree that we've traditionally known that in the past.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, at some point in time, the NCAA has got to step in and just say, "Hey, here's where we're at. We need to get our finger on this," and common sense has got to prevail at some point in time.
Right. And this is not a shot at anybody in Southwest Missouri, but like a 18-year-old freshman who's out of a really good program, let's say Kickapoo or Rogersville or something like that, who's a really, really good player, he's probably not going to stand a chance against a 24-year-old. I mean, that's the reality of that physicality and all those things, skill set. And so it really does. It's tough on those freshman situations. And you and I talked at great length last year about how, you and I come out of an era where you grew to sort of love your players that played for your team, and they come in as freshmen, and you sort of watched them grow and mature, and you watched them leave on senior night, and it just seems like those things are non-existent anymore.
Absolutely. And that's just the nature of the beast that we're witnessing right now. And sad thing is the player that is leaving the G League to go to Louisville is probably going to make more money at the NCAA level than what he did in the G League. So
yeah, I'm sure he got a raise. I mean, if we're just being honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
For sure. Anyway, I think that story, and let me back up. I think that's already happened at the international with the international players that come and play a Division I college basketball. They are getting paid overseas to play, and then they come here and play for colleges. So I don't think the concept is new. It's just the fact that it's inside our country for the first time on display. So I may be wrong on this, but I think this story is just taking off. I think the whole landscape is changing because of this one situation. So be fun to watch. Going to switch gears here to baseball. The World Series is upon us. Toronto Blue Jays in a thriller in the ending of their series will play the Dodgers. I think you and I would publicly say we're pulling for Toronto. I know that may offend some Dodgers fans. You and I both really thought Seattle might have the most complete team in terms of competing with the Dodgers. But nonetheless, Toronto wins it. I saw today, and I'm going to let you take a shot at this, that Toronto had a 35% chance of winning the World Series. Higher or lower in your estimation on that 35%?
I'm being honest, lower.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just, the Dodgers have found another gear in postseason. It's almost like they were just kind of getting through the regular season to get to this point. That take a look at the game Ohtani had last week.
My goodness.
I don't know. We could live another 150 years and never see anything like that again. You know, he throws 7 innings of no run baseball and hits 3 home runs in the process. That's just amazing. And their pitching lineup, I just don't see any breakthrough for Toronto. The big thing that they're going to have to do is get to the Dodgers bullpen.
Yeah,
I think if they can get if they get that pitch count up or get to a pitcher for the Dodgers early and get to that bullpen, then yeah, maybe. But it sure hasn't worked for any of the in any of the series that previous teams in the National League have played up to this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the 35% chance of winning seems high. I think maybe 1 in 5 would be my baseline. I did see this. I'm going to see if I know you're not a betting man, but see if you want to throw some money at this one. The Blue Jays are plus 2,000 to sweep the World Series. I don't know. I don't even know if that's good odds to sweep. Seems
I'd
like
put
that
a
would
dollar on it. I'd put a dollar on it.
I tell you what, I'll go halves with you.
Okay, sounds good.
That's about where we're at budget wise, anyway. So
yes, exactly.
Anyway, it will be if Toronto can win one of the first 2, then hey, I think things could get interesting. I think that'll be fun. If Dodgers go up 2-0, it's over. I mean, I just don't see Toronto having a chance. So, nonetheless, World Series is always awesome, and it'll be fun to watch. All right, viewers, we have reached the point in our show that we like to call Hold'em or Fold'em. I give Coach Archer 2 or 3 scenarios each week. Usually it's a team. This week I've got a little different one that I'm going to throw in. But I give him a team or a situation, and I give him some details about that team or situation. And then I encourage him to tell me whether he is going to hold them or fold them. So the first one I'm going to start with this week is the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, as they say. The Cowboys currently are 3-3 with 1 tie, which is a whole nother topic. So they're 3-3-1. The next 3 for the Cowboys are the Broncos, Cardinals, and Raiders. Okay. Seems like some games that are manageable. Okay. The next 3 after those 3, and you're hearing this right. The next 3 after that are the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Lions in 3 consecutive weeks. So my question for you is, Cowboys, as it stands for them to make the playoffs, are you going to hold them or are you going to fold them?
I'm going to fold them. I think it's going to be an awfully tough get through Denver and offset that loss. They're going to have to beat one of probably the 3 better teams in football right now, in the Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions.
Yeah.
The Eagles have a kink in their armor, so to speak. They've proven that they're human, and same way with Kansas City. But boy, the Kansas City Chiefs have found their groove, and they look awfully good. I mean, they look like the best team in football as we speak.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm folding them on Dallas. What about you?
Yeah. I think I fold them too. I think they have to, of those first three, Broncos, Cardinals, Raiders, I think they have to win all three of those. And then I feel like they have to win one of those other three. And that may be
They're
a
gonna
tall
have to.
order. Yeah.
Yes.
And going back to your Chiefs, we aren't, or your Chiefs comments, I don't think we're being homers here. Like they are clicking. I mean,
Yes.
to me, they look better right now than they did at any point last year.
Agreed. Both sides of football.
Yeah, they're pretty good right now. So if they stay healthy and continue to sort of grow roles and all those things, man, look out. And you and I mentioned playing in the AFC. I mean, they ought to win that AFC regardless, you would think. So anyway, we're both folding on the Cowboys. So, and hey, maybe they'll prove us wrong, but sounds like tough sledding to me. So the next one, hold 'em or fold 'em. We're going to go to Vanderbilt college football. And this one is more interesting because of their game this week with Mizzou. So a little background on Vanderbilt before you throw your cards in here. I've got they have wins over Virginia Tech, South Carolina, Georgia State, Utah State, and LSU. So schedule's not super formidable, but they're taking care of business. Their losses to Alabama. They are currently in a stretch of games that includes Bama, LSU, Missouri, Texas, and Auburn. So they're right in the middle of that stretch of games. You and I mean, we've talked highly of Vanderbilt over the course of a couple of years here. So my question for you is, hold 'em or fold 'em on Vanderbilt competing for an SEC championship? Not necessarily, national implications in a tournament format, but just competing and being at the top or near the top in the SEC. Hold 'em or fold 'em, Vanderbilt football.
Looking at what they have coming, I'm going to be fold 'em.
Yeah.
I think just the sheer number of nationally ranked opponents, plus you throw in an Auburn there, that if they don't hang it up by then, they're the type of team that could beat a Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That's I'm fold 'em right now. What about you?
I think I'll fold them as well. I do love their quarterback play. I mean, super impressed. I love their culture right now. Like, there's a lot of things to love about them. However, that week-to-week grind of the SEC, I just don't know if they're ready for that on that SEC championship level. I think they compete well, and of the 5 games that I listed there, maybe they go 3-2 or something along those lines. But I don't see them going 4-1 or 5-0 in that stretch. So be interesting to watch. However, if they beat Mizzou this week, again, we've talked about it in the first segment, signature win. And hey, then all of a sudden, I think it could look different for them. I really think this is a big week for Vanderbilt.
It is. It's a huge week for both programs, and this is going to be a fun weekend to watch some football. There's a lot of good matchups, but that one right there probably determines the FBS playoff future for one of those two teams.
Yes, I mean, I think it goes without saying that the loser of that game can't get back in. I mean, there's no circumstance that gets them back in. The winner has a chance, the loser doesn't. Does it seem that clear cut to you?
Yes, it does. I think the cards are all out on the table, and you got to make the best with the hand you got, and that'll be determined this weekend.
Yep, absolutely. The third scenario. Hey, I worked on this one a little bit. So the third hold 'em or fold 'em scenario for you is Rick Barry, former ABA and NBA legend, really good player. In fact, had probably coming out of the ABA, was one of the top superstars out of that league. Dr. J and Artis Gilmore and David Thompson and some of those guys, but he was along in that grouping of players, transitioned to the NBA, had a stellar career there as well. What he's best known for, in my opinion, is his granny style free throws. Okay. For those of you that don't know, granny style is basically an underhand free throw with backspin on it. And he was really good at it. When I say really good, he shot 90% free throws for his career, ABA and NBA combined. So I did a little research. His last 6 seasons in the NBA, he attempted 1,870 free throws. Pretty good. I mean, he's getting to the foul line a lot. Of those 1,870 free throws, he missed 149. So his percentage was a little over 92% over the last 6 seasons of his career. So here's where I'm going with this. Hey, you're gonna downplay this, but you're a really good coach. I've known you for a lot of years. You've done it at a lot of levels. You've coached boys, you've coached girls, college, high school. You've done it all, had a lot of success. If a player comes up to you, here's the hold 'em, fold 'em. If a player comes up to you who's struggling from the free throw line and wants you to endorse them switching to a granny style free throws, what are you going to do? Are you going to sort of empower that player to test that out, or are you going to shut the door on that?
No, I think I'm going to empower the player.
Yeah.
Hey, if they can't shoot it regular, then let's give that underhand a go. If you shoot 5% better, we're still ahead. That's the way I look at it. Heck yeah, I'm going to empower that player. If you feel like you can make it work, let's figure out a way to make it work and let's go with it. What about you?
Well,
Coach?
so answer this question.
Okay.
So if you're 24 years old and you're in year 3 or year 2 of your high school career, like, do you have the same conversation with them? Do you empower them in the same way? Does the young coach get sort of the freedom to do that with a player? You and I, we're close enough to the grave that people may not care, right?
Right.
But
Right.
if you're new to
Or
the
we
profession,
don't.
or we don't. that's probably more true.
Right.
But if you're starting out and you're trying to get some notches in your belt in terms of credibility, like, is it the same? Can you do that with the same confidence?
With the same confidence, no, probably not. But I think there's ways around that. I think you sit the kid down and say, okay, I'm willing to give you a chance, but you've got to prove it to me in practice. But we're working on free throws.
Yeah.
You prove it to me there, I'll be behind you 100% because I can show people, hey, we've kept records. Here they are. And
Right.
Hey, if a kid's shooting 40% from the free throw line, you got to do something different, right?
Right.
And
yeah.
I think at that point, I'm willing to take a chance. If he can prove to me or she can prove to me that the percentages are going to be better and they're going to be able to help us win games, yeah, I'm going to let them do it.
Yeah. I think I'm with you at this point in my career, at least. Like,
Yeah.
I think, hey, and I think it goes deeper than that. Like, you want to cultivate a relationship with that player where that player coach trust is developed. And so I think if you tell them no, you may risk that, or it may not let that flourish, but
Right.
if you come along beside of them and say, hey, yeah, let's take a look at this, see what we got. I mean, I think that confidence grows in that relationship. This is sort of petty, but maybe it figures in. I'm going to throw it your way.
Mhm.
If it were named something different than a granny style free throw, like, would that perception be different? Let's say it was called the Rick Barry style of free throw shooting. Like, is it in the name that people just cringe on that? Because you would think as many bad post player free throws shooters that there are, and there's a lot of them. And I'm not just dogging post players, but typically that's where it's at, right? I mean, there's a lot of those guys all the way up to the NBA. Like, if it had some sort of different name or connotation, would that change its usage at all?
I don't think so. And anytime you say granny free throw, honestly, the first thing I don't want to think of a granny shooting a free throw. I think of little kids,
Yeah.
you know, when they're our grandson's age trying to get the ball up to a 10-foot basket. And the only way
Yeah.
they can is, you know, to try to toss it up there. And I think that's more of the connotation of what people think about from the standpoint that, well, he can't get it up there this way. Let's do, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
To me, there's more of that edge to it than it being called a granny shot, so to speak. So I don't know, just my 2 cents. Something I've never really thought about, to be honest.
Well, and hey, I don't know what even. I just happened to see a little video of Rick Barry. He wasn't even shooting free throws, but it got me to thinking about the success he had with free throws and just how that you and I both know in athletics things are copied. Like once the blueprint is out there, and so in my mind, the numbers say he was the greatest free throw shooter in the history of the game, but yet his style's not copied. In a world where everything's copied, it's ironic to me that that's not. So that's where all that stemmed from. So viewers, you may think I need a life if that's what I sit around and think about. But anyway, basketball season is upon us. And so I thought, well, we might throw that one out there.
Great question. Great question. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I answered it. I'd be holding on it, I guess.
I'd be holding on it too.
Yeah.
At this stage of my career, and I can't say with 100% certainty that in the younger stages of my career that I might have been holding. I might have. I mean, I'm just being honest. I might have worried about the criticism and sort of the things that would come with that. So
right.
Anyway, cool topic.
Yeah,
that was a good
Love
one.
it.
Well, I think we've come to a stopping point on this week's show. It's been good. A lot of cool sporting events coming up. Big time college football matchups, World Series, NBA started this week, regular season. Like you said earlier in the show, the intersection of all things football and all things basketball. We're right there with it. So it's been a good show. It's been good to visit with you this week.
You bet. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next week.
Absolutely. Well, folks, for On Deck with DeRo and Arch, I am Eric DeRosset along with Darren Archer. We are signing off for this week. So enjoy a good week of football and basketball. Fall weather's coming, more rain this weekend. And so it's just a good time of the year all the way around. So again, thanks for joining us. Please like us or follow us on the appropriate platforms if you would. We would love to hear from you. So without further ado, we will sign off for this week. Thanks for joining us.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.